Okay, so what we're working with today is section 7.1, adding and subtracting polynomials. Why aren't you working? We actually have a lot of vocabulary, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight it away. Okay, so to get started, a constant is just a number. It's something that doesn't change. It's just constantly that's value. So 5, -2, 1. Numbers are constants. A term is an algebraic expression that includes a variable. A variable changes a constant when it's multiplied because a variable means a number. It means something. A monomial is an expression with one algebraic term. So that could be something like x, 2x, 3xy, 4x squared y to the fifth. Each of those have one term, and so it is a monomial. A monomial will not have a no, plus, or minus. They will not have addition or subtraction. Okay, let's change font, change colors. A polynomial is something with two or more algebraic terms. And so something like x plus 5, 2x squared plus 3x plus 6, 4x minus 2y plus 3x squared minus 7 plus 8z. All of those are polynomials because they have two or more. When you have certain terms, though, a binomial is something with two terms. And so this one right here is a binomial because it has two terms. So another binomial could be something like 2x plus 3y, x squared minus y squared. Those are binomials. Okay, a trinomial is kind of what it sounds like. Trinomial has three terms. So this one here is a trinomial. So anything with three terms, x squared minus 5x plus 8, those are trinomials. Usually I'm only going to use the word polynomial if it has four or more. Technically a binomial and trinomial are all polynomials, but we'll only identify them as polynomials when it's four or more. Okay, so the degree is the blank of the exponent in a term. So it's the value or the sum of the exponents in a term. To find the degree of a polynomial, find the degree of each term and choose the highest. Okay, so let's look at this. Here's my exponent on my variable. I only have a 2, so that means this problem has degree of 2. On this one, if you notice, let's highlight again, I have a degree here and a degree here. Now in both of those you don't see anything, so that means it's a degree 1 with a degree 1. And when you have a monomial and you have multiple exponents, you have to add those. So this becomes 1 plus 1, so it is degree 2. Alright, for the next one, here's one exponent for the x, and here's another exponent for the y. And again, you add those. So it'll become 3 plus 2, so this is degree 5. So when you have a monomial, you add the exponents for the degrees, and that, or for the, you add the exponents, and that will tell you what the degree is. Alright, so a polynomial actually is three. This one has three different things. And so what I have to do is I have to find the degree of each one. This one has a degree of 2. This next one also has a degree of 2 because there's a 1 there and a 1 there. And then this last one has a degree of 3. Now this is where it gets tricky because you don't add these up. You have to pick the biggest one. So 3 is the biggest. So that polynomial or trinomial has degree 3. Okay, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to try numbers 1, 2, and 3. So determine the degree of the monomial. And when you think you're ready, go ahead and press play. Alright, so this one, the only exponent I have is 3, so it's degree 3. For number 2, you have a 1 and a 4, so it's degree 5. And here you have a 2 and a 4, so it's degree 6. Okay? Alright, on the next problems, you're going to write them in standard form and then identify the degree and leading coefficient. Okay, so the leading coefficient is the number in front of biggest degree. Okay. When you write these in order, it says in standard form, it goes from biggest degree down. So degree, the top degree, all the way down to the smallest degree. Okay. So let's look at number 4. And we're gonna have to classify it. So this one's degree 3. This is degree 5. This is degree 0 because there is no x value. And so this one is my biggest degree. So it is degree 5. Leading coefficient, leading is the number in front, and that is a negative 2 because a minus 2 is the same as a negative 2. Now we're going to write it in order. So I start with my biggest exponent, so it'll be negative 2x to the 5th, then a positive 5x to the 3rd, and then plus 8. And then the last one is we have to classify it, and this has 1, 2, 3 terms, so this is a trinomial. So lots of stuff there. Okay, why don't you try number 2 on your own, and when you think you're ready, press play. Okay, you should have saw that this first one had a degree 1, and the second one has a degree 2. So that is my degree. It's the biggest one. So degree is 2, and my leading coefficient is the number in front of it, which is a negative 6. Ooh, too many negatives. Now I'm going to write this in order, which it has to start with that biggest degree. So it'll be negative 6x squared plus 3x. And last thing we have to do is we have to name it, and this has 2 terms, so it's a binomial. Okay, the last thing we have to do in these notes is adding and subtracting polynomials. Things that can go together have to have the same degree and the same variables. So I always start with my biggest exponent, which is 5x squared. I have nothing that can go with that, so I just bring down my 5x squared. Now what I will do is I will lightly cross it off so that I know that I'm done with it. Now I'm going to go to my next highest exponent, which is an exponent of 1. So I have a 3x and a 6x. 3x plus 6x is 9x. And then I cross those off because they're done. And now I'm left with just my last term, which is a minus 4. Another way to add them is add them vertically. So I'll show a different method in a different color. And so I have 3x minus 4. And then what I do is I add these that go in the same place vertically. I don't have another x squared, so I'd put it in front. And I would put the 6x underneath the 3x. And now you just add going down. So both method works. Some people like to underline, circle, and then some people like to line it up vertically. Okay, for the next one, when you subtracting has a special thing you have to be careful of. You have to remember that this is actually a negative 1 here. So I have to change these signs. So it's going to become a negative x, and this one's going to become a positive 3x. So now a 4x with a negative x and a positive 3x. So 4 minus 1 is 3, plus 3 is 6x. And then the only other thing, because I kind of all did those together, I'm surprised I've left those there. And then now all I have left is a minus 5. So let me show you vertically how to do that. Let me erase this stuff so we can see it. So what I would do here is I would do 4x minus 5 And then remember, I'm changing these signs, so that becomes a negative 1x. And this becomes a positive 3x, so I line all those up. 4 minus 1 is 3, plus 3 is 6, so 6x minus 5. Okay? All right. I would like you to try 7 and 8 on your, or 7 and 9 on your own. And then hit play when you think you're ready. I would start with 9 because it's adding, and let's do one at a time. So go ahead and start with 9. Okay, so if I look, I have an x squared here and a 2x squared. You have to remember, since there's not a number there, there's actually a 1 there. And so 1x squared plus 2x squared is 3x squared. And instead of crossing off, I'm going to do different colors. And then I have a negative 3x and a positive 10x. Remember that negative 3. It's not just minus 3, it's a negative 3. So negative 3 plus 10 is a positive 7x. And then I have my numbers, 5 and 8. And 5 plus 8 is 13. Okay? All right, next one we have to distribute, and we have to distribute this negative. So I'm going to rewrite it. So this is actually a negative 5x squared minus 8 plus x. So when I look to get like terms, here's an x squared, that's a 1x squared, and a negative 5x squared. 1 minus 5 is a negative 4x squared. And then now I have a negative 3x and a positive 1x. Negative 3 plus 1 is a negative 2x. And now I need to take care of my numbers. We did red. Let's do gray. And so I have 5 with negative 8. And 5 with a negative 8 is a negative 3. Okay? So be careful. Make sure you only put together things that go together. And if there's a negative or a subtraction, remember to distribute that.